Hey, it's me, Egbert. Egggburt. Check out my website at egbert.com. Now it's back to those two dudes who told me they would bring in big ratings. They better are their history. Here are Brad and John.
I wonder if Egbert is the president of his homeowners association.
He doesn't seem like the type that would meddle in those events, Brad. He's not a meddler.
Yeah.
Hey, we should also mention in real time here that Jeremy Goodwin from St. Louis Public Radio got back to me. He updated his story, and the story is now accurate. And on Jason Rosenbaum Friday, for those who don't know, last Friday, Brad celebrated Jason Rosenbaum Friday because today is the day that you can hear Jason Rosenbaum's Politically Speaking Hour on St. Louis Public Radio. We've talked about this before. Jason Rosenbaum is the best example of what I call the ego test. Can you talk about an outlet? Can you write about them and maybe tap them a little bit and not have them fly off the handle, have them be good sports? You know what I'm saying? Jason Rosenbaum's a great example of this. But Jeremy Goodwin takes a piece of loyal reader feedback and corrects a story. You know, his ego's not going to be bruised by the fact that I called out that he made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes, Brad.
Right.
See, this is what we can do. We can improve people's behavior. We can remind them things aren't that serious. Take a little tap to the ego, be better, and then we'll all move on.
And once again, in the era of the internet, it's very easy to go in and we're just going to revise that, make a couple edits. Boom,
Yes,
boom, boom.
exactly.
And boy, do I do that on a daily basis because of the fact that there's things that for example, perfect example, I put up the shows on the website all the time. I chop them up and I do a little recap and the whole bit. And John will text me from time to time, hey, you got the wrong version up, or you got the wrong, cut or stuff like that. And I go back in and I change it, and real quick. Now, going back to Jason Rosenbaum, I don't think he's on every Friday, is he? I thought it was.
I don't. They're not a preset, Brad. And with respect to my friends at St. Louis Public Radio, they're not a preset in my car, so I don't know.
I don't think he's on every Friday. I think it's just sort of like when the wind blows the right way. And well, now see, once again, I'm not making fun of Jason Rosenbaum. I've said up front that Jason Rosenbaum should be doing that noon show 5 days a week because he's really good at this. And once again, the crazy thing about this is my complaint, I have many about St. Louis Public Radio, but they've got 14,000 reporters. They've got more reporters than any radio station in St. Louis, times 5, and they don't produce that much on-air content.
Hey, and I respectfully disagree, Brad. And I say that Jason, you know how I feel about this. Jason should not be doing that show 5 days a week because I don't want to hear Jason cover a St. Louis art gallery exhibitionism about reparations. I want Jason Rosenbaum to be doing serious, real reporting about issues that matter. If he was on that noon hour, they literally did a story last year about the institutional racism of public toilets. Brad, I don't want Jason touching that. I want Jason covering important issues.
That's there's a story that came out yesterday that Tashara Jones, the population of the city of St. Louis keeps sinking. And yesterday, or someday this week, I can't remember if it was yesterday or Wednesday.
It was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? And
it was 314 day, yep.
Right, and she comes out and she's especially dismayed that there are more and more black people leaving the city. I'm going okay, hold on a minute. Black people are like white people in that they want to live in a nice area with no crime and good schools, right? I mean, Steve Ellman talks about this all the time. He says, and once again, look at St. Charles County. St. Charles County, he's the CEO, the whatever you call it, the county executive, whatever you want to call him. He's the head. He's the head dude in St. Charles County. He is interviewed. I've heard him say this many times. I've heard him say in present, where I've been at chamber meetings. He talks about the fact there's two elements to a good community: good police protection, safety, and essentially good schools. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And it's and if you're someone who's young and you want to start a family and you want to have your kids grow up, you want to have a place where your kids can play out in the street and go to good schools. You don't want to have a place where you're afraid your kid's going to get shot in the middle of a drive-by and the schools are falling apart. And I guess by her coming out and she said, well, I'm especially upset about the black people are moving out. I go, would you expect them to stay on the sinking ship? I mean, I don't see. Do you understand that philosophy? To me, that is very racist by her saying that. That's like
I do. So I understand what she's saying. St. Louis Public Radio has a piece up, and it's written by a gentleman named Eric Schmidt. It's up today, and it's Tashara had a press conference yesterday where they talked about this stuff, just like you mentioned. But the phrase that was used by St. Louis Public Radio is that some areas, Brad, in the city, and you can read that as, quote, black and brown areas, have experienced acute disinvestment. So she's come out with her economic justice action plan. Now, do you think, Brad, when you hear the phrase economic justice, do you think that means justice for all people? Or do you think it means maybe skewing the playing field and giving some people some stuff because of slavery and other people, well, you're just a nice to have?
Hey, once again, I tried to be, and I know people are going to go, they're going to roll their eyes and go, like, here's that stupid Brad again. I try to be as colorblind as possible. As a matter of fact, I still get offended when people call me white because I'm not white. I can put my hand right here in on this piece of paper in front of me. I am, and I went to I told the goofy story when I used to talk about this all the time when I was on Westplex 107.1. I got so mad about, oh, you're a white guy. I went to Lowe's and I got myself paint chips, and I have them in the other studio. I still have them. I'm what, Mocha Java or something like that. And so, in other words, and by the aspect of saying, well, white supremacy, once again, I'm supreme over no one. Matter of fact, I'm inferior to almost everyone. I will come out and say that. I'm not superior to anyone. I'm inferior. I'm flawed. I have all sorts of issues in my life and stuff like that. I'm not a rich guy. I don't drive around. I talk about the fact I drive around. I mean, every car I own right now came to me on the back of a tow truck. Okay?
Yeah,
literally.
Absolutely. But now still, Brad, because of your mocha chocolatayaya skin,
Mocha Java,
you are experiencing some white privilege. I don't care what you say, Brad. I don't care what your upbringing is. You can't handle, or you can't acknowledge the pain that you've caused on others. And speaking of pain, Brad, I don't mean to interrupt your story, but I saw the story last night and I thought it was fake. And I don't know if you've seen this before. Have you seen the Advil Pain Equity Project?
No, what is this?
So this is legit, and I as a shoot, I didn't believe this. And then I'm on their website right now. So Advil, the medicine maker, has a thing called a program called the Advil Pain Equity Project. And the first thing I saw yesterday was a store display, like an end cap, at the end of the supermarket aisle.
Right.
And it was about black pain. And it was about how black people experience more, headaches because of racial stress and all this stuff. And it's the idea of, so they've teamed up with Morehouse University, which is a HBCU, and a program called Black Health. And the idea is that black people, Advil wants to help society achieve pain equity and help black people address their pain. Now, of course, the way you do this, Brad, is by purchasing a product. Okay, the product is always the most important thing.
That's just marketing.
But this is where we are, Brad.
That's just marketing, John. If I were in that business, I'd be doing the same stuff.
For sure. And what I would have suggested if I was, I'd be like, look, partner with a university, get a doctor who will play ball, who'll do some BS study that says, oh, that 87% of headaches in black people are due to the lack of critical race theory in schools. That's the ticket. And then you know what the solution is? Advil.
Okay, here's one. I got a couple more stories. We're almost the end of our show for the end of our week. Okay, a couple things I have to get off my chest. Otherwise, I'll get frustrated. Okay. Because this show, to a certain extent, is therapy for me. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story which you are going to call BS on, but it's true. California is now coming up with a plan where the rate of the electricity you pay for, in other words, how much you pay for per kilowatt hour, depends upon how much money you make.
There's no way you're serious. I have not heard this.
Okay, here it is. Here it is a story. I'll read you. California Public Utilities Commission has until July 1st to impose new electric structure. Okay, Los Angeles. How to go green without going broke. That's the latest challenge in the alternative energy capital of California, where Democrats propose taxing the rich to make energy more equitable and affordable.
Oh, that's beautiful, Brad. When can we have Ameren, Missouri about that?
Right. To do so, lawmakers mandated utilities statewide begin billing taxpayers not based on how much electricity they use, but on how much money they make.
Well, that's fair.
Okay, here we go again. Here's a quote. This would be the first state to charge people based on their income rather than what they actually just use, said Sean Hyatt, director of the USC Business of Energy Transition Institute. Okay, he says, quote, the problem we have here is affordability. While California has focused almost completely on clean energy, it has disregarded reliability and affordability, and costs have continued to escalate. So one of the ways that we want to address this affordably was let's consider a tax begin taxing people based on their income to address electricity rates. So if you make a lot of money, and the crazy thing about this, what do you have to do? Going to file your income tax returns with your utility? You know, I mean,
yeah, like why not let utility have access to all your tax information?
I read this and I thought to myself, I thought to myself, this is not for real. It goes on, and now here we go. Households earning $28,000 to $69,000 would be charged an extra $20 to $34 per month. Those earning $69,000 to $180,000 would pay $51 to $73 per month, and those earning more than $180,000 would pay $85 to $100 monthly surcharge. This is in addition to your usage. So in other
You're
words,
kidding.
No, they're going to charge you a surcharge on your electric bill as how much money you make, and the sliding scale is the less money you make, the surcharge is going to be small. The more money you make, the surcharge is going to be big. And I'm going like, okay, only in California. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there's an interesting story about Bernie Sanders having a fight with one of the reporters in one of the halls of the Capitol yesterday or the day before in D.C. Did you heard about this story?
I haven't seen it, no.
Okay, he got into a fight. I believe it's one of the reporters from Fox Business News or something like that. And Bernie is pushing this thing about he wants to put into law that the new work week is 32 hours, essentially.
Oh, that's fair.
But see, here we go again. He quotes all these European cities, okay? And he quotes like, well, France is the seventh largest economy in the world, and they only work 32 hours a week. And I'm thinking to myself, move to effing France, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
that's exactly right.
Not only
now,
that,
proportionally, would that mean teachers would only have to work 16 hours a week?
Well, the idea being is, by what he's saying they're the seventh largest economy in the world, okay? Guess what the first largest economy in the world is?
China.
No, it's the United States. So the idea being is that why would we want to? Like, well, you're in France. Why would that? Would
but
be
he's saying, look, they at least they're in the top 10. They're in the conversation, and they only work certain hours a week.
That would be like if we still had the Rams in town, and let's say we had the Rams in town, and Stan Kroenke came out and he says, we want to be exactly like Detroit. And we're going
Yeah.
Detroit has been in one playoff game in like how many years?
A long time.
Right.
A long time.
They made it into the playoffs this year, but I mean, was it a couple years ago? They were like, didn't they lose every game? Didn't one season?
Yeah, they were 0-16.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, to be like, we want to be just like Detroit.
Yeah,
no, we don't want to be just
it.
like Detroit. I'm going Bernie Sanders. Where does he come up with this crap? I mean,
well, he's a socialist. Did you have a Coldwater Creek story too, Brad?
Yes, that's my very last thing. Okay, the smartest woman in the world, and once again, I'm the guy that points this out, and nobody knows where this is, and it's very easy to find. And she listens from time to time, and she brought this to my attention that a news press release came out that they're going to close McDonald Boulevard between Lindbergh and Airport Road. Do you know why they're doing that? Now they claim this is the reason they're doing it. They're going to replace the Coldwater Creek overpass. There's a bridge. It's like almost like not a bridge, but it's almost like a culvert there. They're going to replace the Coldwater Creek culvert there. See, that is where all the pollution started, right there. And if you go to this day, I don't know when that was going to be effect, but if you go to this day, I was there a month ago. They're still digging out dirt. They've got their own little private railroad spur that runs in there. They're now on both sides. Matter of fact, the side of the road they're on, the side of McDonald, which is on the north side of McDonald, is the side where I used to take my kids, or not my kids, when I was a kid, I used to play in Little League Baseball, and we played tournaments there. I think that was called the ABC Fields. It was I can't remember what athletic association it was, but we played in those fields. And then as I was older and I umpired, I used to umpire games there all the time. And I know people that worked at McDonnell Douglas and people that worked there who talked about they played in softball leagues, on those fields, which are now off limits because they're radioactive. And so the idea being is, I say there's something phony baloney about them taking this culvert out because of the fact that I've been over that culvert and I don't think it was in bad shape. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean if you get down inside of it, there may be some problems with it falling apart or something like that. But I'm going like, okay, I think there's more to the story than just they're replacing the boat, because they're shutting down the road and it's going to be closed for several months. So if you use that, and there's not a lot of traffic on that, but occasionally if I'm up North County and I come down south in Lindbergh or something like that, matter of fact, one of the places that I get my car repaired at is a complete auto body right there on Lindbergh, just north of Hazelwood. It used to be the old Volkswagen dealership. And if I want to come back down on 170, I'll just go back south on Lindbergh, make a left there at McDonald, go over McDonald, and then take that over to Airport, and then you jump on 170 right there at Airport Road. I say there's something more to the story. I think we should have, who's the guy from KWMU?
Jeremy Goodwin.
I think you should send him a tip on this.
And have him do that. The most important thing he should point out, if there were kids that played in that pile of dirt,
right,
they should ask their parents to take them to Times Beach, which is a much safer area, and they should dig in the dirt down there. They should dig real deep, actually.
Yeah.
And then just kind of, it's the same type environment. It's scenic, and you know what? Completely harmless.
Yeah. Well, we're talking different kind of pollution. At least they wouldn't glow the people in Times Beach wouldn't glow at night. They just have other sad diseases which they get from that. Did I ever tell you the crazy story, the crazy weird story, the correlation between the old owner of KSOQ and Times Beach?
No, was it Russell Bliss?
Yes, but do you know who gave him?
You're kidding me.
Do you know?
Was he really the owner?
No. You know who gave Russell Bliss the chemicals, the dioxin? A company,
Brad Hildebrand.
A company called Charter Oil, who owned KSLQ at the time.
So really, you're partly to blame for Times Beach, Brad, is what you're confessing on the air.
I am.
That's why you said that this is therapy for you. It's taken many years, but you're now accepting your role in Times Beach.
I'm accepting my role in many things. I'm accepting my role in the fact that I still can't get over the fact that we have 40,000 reporters on KWMU, and there's only one.
But the story's going to be corrected today. Jeremy just messaged me again. He said that by the next time it airs, the story will be corrected.
Oh, he's actually on the air where he's talking that on the air?
Yeah, he's going to talk about it on the air, yeah.
I thought it was just in the print version, which they
Hey,
did.
You know what? You got to pay attention, Brad.
Who are you again?
Yeah, exactly.
What station is this?
This is St. Louis Public Radio.
Okay, we got to get out of here.
This is St. Louis Pub. I'm Elaine Chow. I'm Mr. Miss Chow. And guess what? We're coming up